What's cracking, nerds? Plugged In is back and better than ever. I'm your host, Devin, alongside X and alongside Gracie. And tonight we're talking The Acolyte, X-Men 97, a new Alien film, and a possible new Sims film. Let's roll that intro. So The Acolyte, the trailer just dropped recently. Now, it's a new expansion in the Star Wars saga. Have you guys taken a look at the trailer yet? Any thoughts on it? Anything standing out?
Yeah, I'm honestly so excited. I think it looks really cinematically pleasing, at least to me. And I'm also excited. I feel like in the live action projects we've had from Star Wars, we haven't gone a focus on like a very powerful female villain. And it looks like it's really well done, so I have a lot of high hopes for it.
I'm excited, honestly. It looks like one of the better developed villains of the whole. I mean, again, it's only a trailer, so I can't really tell much, but I'm definitely excited to see what it holds. X, what are your thoughts on it?
I unfortunately don't have many thoughts on it. I did watch the trailer right before I came in here, so I do think that, yes, this villain looks pretty interesting. Someone who's just going around, apparently, to kill all the Jedi.
Do you guys have any predictions as to what characters might come in or who you'd like to see maybe pop in or, be featured on the show at all?
Something that did get me excited during the trailer, I think I did see a yellow lightsaber.
Ooh.
Something that's only exclusive, from what I know, to Jedi Sentinels and also my own lightsaber. I have a yellow lightsaber too.
You have a yellow, right?
Yeah.
You have a yellow lightsaber?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I went with a blue one just because I was basic.
Fair enough.
Do you think this project, I know again it's very early, but do you think it might have the potential to even get a season 2 or maybe be picked up? So far we only know it's about 8 episodes that are going to be dropping, so any predictions on that?
I think it's going to be, depending on how it's written and how they produce it, but I think there's a lot of potential for another season. I think having a project that's outside the world between the prequels and A New Hope, we haven't really done. And I'd really like to see more in depth into that. I'm really excited to see what it comes.
Okay. What about you? Actually, have any predictions?
Well, yeah, I would say it's also a little bit early for me to be able to tell whether or not I'll get a season 2, but I haven't watched much Star Wars content since, I think, Obi-Wan Kenobi, to be honest.
Okay.
But looking at this, it actually looks very interesting, and once it comes out, if I hear that it's good enough, I might actually give it a watch, because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I might honestly. I definitely will give it a watch as well. It did really stand out to me just how visually stunning it looked. Some of those actual settings just looked, breathtaking. Do you guys have any other thoughts or anything else that you're excited, in regards to the show or anything?
That's pretty much all of my thoughts just summed up.
Pretty much all the thoughts? Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
In regards to that, do you guys have any hopes for any future Star Wars projects or anything that might be coming up after that?
I don't condemn the actions of the Sith, but I would like to see more from the Sith.
Yeah.
Okay, I dig that. All
Me
right.
too.
Sweet.
And also just more stories that don't revolve around the Jedi or Sith or anything like that. Just more stuff happening in the Star Wars universe. Just some more grounded stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay, I dig that. All right, well, progressing onwards, we are pressing on to X-Men 97 now. X, I know that this was a topic that you were personally excited about, as much as any of us are. What are your thoughts on it?
So I watched episode 1 before I came in here, and I actually summed up quite a few talking points.
Okay.
The short answer is, we are so back.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
The intro is heat. Storm's intro, both of them in that episode, both straight heat. We have Morph back. People have Sentinel weapons now. We have Sunspot now. Sunspot is in this now.
So I'm hearing a whole lot of heat is coming from this show.
Yes,
okay.
both figurative and literal, because Sunspot.
Unfortunately speaking, I haven't had the chance to look at it or give it a watch yet, but I'm definitely very excited. Gracie, have you had the chance to give it a watch?
I have not had the chance, but I've never been one very inclined to check out cartoons, except for like SpongeBob and Danny Phantom.
Fair
but
enough.
Seeing the trailer, I'm actually interested, and I think kind of the story without Professor X will be interesting because I think he's always been kind of a more a compass for like everyone in the movies and the comics. So it looks very interesting.
That's another point I want to get into now. The whole thing, the whole big conflict, Professor X, he is gone. as the series ended, the original series ended in '97.
Yeah.
It ended with his death. Now, any big, predictions as to what might come of that, or anything that you guys want to share in regards to that?
Well, apparently, from what I watched from the first episode, it takes place like a couple of months after Xavier's passing.
Okay.
It feels weird saying my name in the third person like that.
Like, it feels meta.
A little bit meta. Dad, was I named after Professor X?
You might have been, and honestly, I would take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Family, I know you're going to watch this. Please answer. Anyway, so yeah, it takes place after his passing. And from the first episode, they're all still trying to deal with the fallout of that. Everyone's dealing in their own way. Cyclops is trying to take over as leader. And he's doing an okay job of it until Magneto steps up.
Now, I did know that Magneto does end up coming in and trying to, in a sense, not take over, but steps up to that leadership role.
Yeah.
How would you say that that's, working out yet? Or has he...
Story-wise, it makes perfect sense because, again, Professor X and Magneto, Professor X still believes in his friendship with Magneto. He still sees him as one of his friends, even though they view the idea of mutant and human coexistence in very different ways. Professor X championed that coexistence. Magneto believed that mutants should be on top, like Apex or whatever. And now that Magneto is part of this now, he's part of the X-Men, I'm thinking he's probably going to have to learn to adapt to Xavier's way of thinking about mutant and human coexistence. Even if begrudgingly at first, I feel like eventually he's going to see the benefits in that.
Okay, I dig that. Grace, do you have any comments on, the whole Professor X dilemma or anything going on with Magneto?
It's definitely, I think, going to be very interesting. Watching mostly the movies of the projects, he's an uneasy character. And
That's
it'll
definitely a
be
way to put
interesting
it.
to see what his leadership comes to.
No, absolutely. Do you guys have any hopes as to what might come later on in the series? Do you guys feel that it has the potential to run for a second season or maybe a third or,
Honestly,
progress
I hope
onwards?
It does. I hope it does. Me personally, I want to see more Storm. I want to see
Storm?
more of Storm.
Okay.
I'm a little bit obsessed. That's okay.
And you know what? It is entirely okay.
Yeah, like one of the first scenes of the episode, you just see the weather start to change, and you hear Storm saying, "I am Storm, mistress of the elements." And then I'm sitting there in my seat just like, oh, you all are so screwed now.
Well, hopefully speaking, we see way more of Storm and the rest of the X-Men then.
Precisely, yes.
Yes. Pressing onwards, we are talking about a new potential Sims movie. Now, being somebody who is personally a big fan of The Sims and has, spent a lot of money on every single expansion pack.
Oh, dear.
Do you guys have any initial thoughts as to the idea for the project or what you might expect from it?
I haven't really played much Sims at all. Like, I had the Sim City Build It mobile game, but I know that's not exactly the same thing. Yeah, I know some very limited things about The Sims.
In that case, I think you might have to hop on The Sims once in a while then. I think
Quite
you might
possibly.
have to get into it.
Yeah.
Gracie, are you a big fan of The Sims?
I used to play it a lot as a kid, and I'm very unsure, but curious because I do love this new era of turning video games into series and movies. But there's some that, like The Last of Us, I was obsessed with The Last of Us, but that kind of had a foundation of a story underneath. So I'm very curious what they do with The Sims and what they take with that.
Yeah, that was the biggest concern that I heard about a potential Sims project is there's not a real structure, story, or narrative to follow, which honestly I think probably will add to it. It'll probably, make it very free form, but do you guys have any big plot predictions as to what we might see, what might be a conflict in this film?
Well, that's the thing, is like you said, Sims doesn't have a set plot thread. It's basically whatever you want. You take little characters, you make families out of them, you make them go through whatever drama you want. Which, thinking about it, it's a little bit... I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into the ethical implications of that.
It could be a little intense sometimes.
Yeah.
I will say.
But also, going into that, I know Margot Robbie's producing
Margot
and just
Robbie is producing.
of Barbie, and also I saw that they got the director from Loki. So kind of going off the ethical reasoning, it would be interesting to see a existential kind of plot within it.
That's
Quite
really
possibly.
interesting to think about, honestly.
That makes sense.
Now, I also had a question for you guys. Do you believe now the Sims, they only talk in Simslish
Oh,
in
dear.
the movie. Do you
Yeah.
believe, or in the game, do you guys believe that that'll be incorporated into the movie as well, or do you think they'll probably...
No, picture this. So they're speaking in Simlish, right? Have the entire movie be in subtitles. They're all speaking Simlish the whole time.
See,
It's
I
just
think that
subtitles.
would be absolutely incredible. I would love to watch it. I would watch that movie several times in
I would
that case then.
I would put so much money. Like, you just shut up and take my money. I put so much into that.
Now, I know you were talking about this whole era of video games being adopted into films and TV and movies, or with The Last of Us, you mentioned. How do you guys feel on that whole trend? Do you think it's a good thing, or do you guys think it's, not the best?
I mean, so far, it seems to be going pretty well. Like, we've had the Mario movie getting a lot of success, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, Last of Us. There's a Legend of Zelda movie coming out soon. Well, maybe not soon, but in the future.
There's a new Fallout series in the making.
There's a
currently
Fallout
as
series.
well. Yeah. Grace, do you have any thoughts on,
Yeah.
future of video game-based films?
I agree. I think taking something that already has a big fan foundation and bringing that more to life is like a very special thing to do, and I like what I've seen so far.
Do you guys have any particular games or anything that you would hope to one day be made into some sort of project like this?
Wouldn't it be funny if we somehow got more Nintendo movies and then eventually, out of the blue, you just see a Super Smash Bros. Movie?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Like,
Don't
think
get me-
about it. Think about it. A Smash Bros. Movie.
It would be
Like
incredible.
an
Don't-
Avengers level Smash Bros. Movie.
It would be incredible. Do not get me started on Super Smash Bros. Though. I am awful at it, and I remember always losing to my brothers and cousins. It was bad.
My guy, I've put an embarrassing amount of hours into that game.
It's because they would always choose Meta Knight, and I just was unable to. I was-
Don't get me started on Meta Knight. Don't get me started on Rob. Rob is awful. I have my reasons for saying such.
I always went with Fox, but that's a story for another day, I guess. Continuing on, we're talking about the new Alien Romulus trailer. Now, this is the first Alien film to come out in 7 years.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys seen the trailer?
Yes.
You both watched the trailer. What are your initial thoughts on it?
This looks awesome.
It does.
I've loved the Alien franchise for as long as I can remember, even though I've never seen a movie of it in my life. I've played Alien vs. Predator. I've watched people play Alien Isolation. And I think I've seen part of one of the Alien films while I was in the gym because they were just playing on TV. Yeah. Alien is just a really cool franchise. I know my mother has like a little face hugger plushie. It has a little smiley face on it.
Oh, that's adorable.
Which is cute. I didn't know what it was at first until I first saw it. And I was like, oh.
It's like,
That's
oh, okay.
horrifying.
Yeah. Well, it's still adorable nonetheless, but...
Yeah.
Grace, do you have any thoughts on the trailer as a whole?
Yeah, I've never seen a singular Alien project,
Okay.
but the trailer spooked me, and it doesn't take a lot to scare me, but I have been getting more into like thrillers and kind of sci-fi films, and this looks very good.
Yeah, I'll say this. I am not easily scared, and even then I was watching the trailer like, oh my God, this actually looks like it'll be like horrifying. Do you guys have any predictions as to casting or anybody you'd like to see, or anybody that, you would have just loved to have seen in an Alien film?
Well, I feel like, are we getting like a new cast of characters like all together? Because
I mean, I'm not exactly sure 100%. The trailer was from what I remember in the trailer, I didn't really see a whole lot of faces in it or a whole lot of people that I could recognize per se, but I wouldn't say that's a bad thing.
From what I saw from YouTube comics, it's supposed to use YouTube comments, not comics. Oh God, imagine that. No, we're not going into that. So yeah, YouTube comments talking about how it's supposed to be like this young crew of space cadets or whatever going into this space station, which I assume is named Romulus.
Okay.
And yeah, they end up encountering the alien, the xenomorphs
Okay.
that are just on the station. So it's gonna be, I think it's just gonna be like Alien all over again.
Okay, I dig that. Grace, do you have any ideas for casting or who you would have loved to have seen actually in the film?
I know one of the women in the
Okay.
trailer was from Priscilla and played Priscilla. I
Okay.
love her. I think she's phenomenal. I know he has plenty of projects coming up. I still want to see Joseph Quinn
Okay.
from Stranger Things and more. I think he really can tackle like a good fantasy sci-fi horror thing, so it's nice to see him.
Now, I've seen that there's not been a lot of like extraterrestrial-based horror-esque films recently, and I am loving the fact they're jumping back into it. Do you guys think that that's, potentially a new medium or a new genre that might arise? This kind of alien-like horror.
Yeah, I think so.
I sure hope so. It terrifies me.
Oh yeah, I certainly hope so as well.
Unlike the two of you, I am easily terrified.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
So
I'm
this
not
is
saying
gonna be
that.
an
I am
experience.
easily super terrified. I will jump out of my seat during the entire film. Speaking of films, let's get into some upcoming movies coming out soon. For tomorrow, we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, as well as Problemista from our A24 friends. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, coming out March 29th, as well as Monkey Man on April 5th, and Civil War April 12th. Do you guys have any films that you guys are really excited to check out?
I mean, a lot of them on that list. I think, honestly, controversial. I think they could make Ghostbusters forever and I would still enjoy them.
Okay.
I haven't seen any Godzilla movie, but it looks very cool.
I recommend -1.
And A24 always comes out with like some pretty hard hits, and Civil War, the idea behind it looks very interesting.
I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Civil War recently, so I'm definitely interested to see what that whole thing will be. X, do you have any films that you're looking forward to?
Actually, just Ghostbusters and Godzilla vs. Kong, because I actually haven't seen like any of the new Ghostbusters films. Like the Afterlife and Frozen Empire are part of the same continuity, right? I haven't seen.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah, I haven't seen like those two movies, but I feel like I want to at some point because I did like the first two Ghostbusters movies a lot. And then Godzilla and Kong. When I went to see -1, I started to fall back in love with the whole monster franchise again. So I really do want to see Godzilla, Kong, New Empire.
I'm also excited to see Godzilla, honestly. Well, with that, that's all the time we have for today's episode. I'm Devin alongside Gracie and alongside X. Tune in next week for another riveting discussion in the world of pop culture. Have a good night, Millersville.